one of the biggest reasons as to why in today's society we have so many young boys of all different ages that haven't actually, in fact, intellectually developed themselves, that is, on a whole, is due to the fact that they were brought up within a feminized family. The mother would have gotten absolutely hands-on and extremely angry with her daughters when they stepped out of line for disrespecting and disgracing their parents. And then when their son happens to step out of line and show the same disrespect and disgraceful behaviours towards their parents, they get patted on the back. Oh, they're there. They get treated, like a baby, I guess. The point I'm trying to make is that we need to exclude this type of parenting within today's society. We need to enforce old school principles within raising the right type of families. As God is my witness, if ever, and I mean ever, if ever, or should I say, if any of my future children, if any of my future children stepped out of line, and this includes, my boy as well, I would chastise them. I would whip them so hard they would know not to disrespect and disgrace me again. That's what we need in today's society. None of this patting on the back, softening your boys, as you will, into feminine boys later on down the line. We don't need any of that crap. Because at the end of the day, they're just going to get trampled on, and they're going to get shafted by the system itself, especially by the opposite sex. We need tougher role models. We need tougher parenting within today's society that actually, in fact, work for both daughter and son. I believe that if you have a son, they deserve the same treatment that you give your daughter. Like I said, and I'll say it again, when my time comes to have my own biological family of my own, when I'm spiritually, psychologically, and financially ready as well as stable, as God is my witness, if my son ever, and I mean ever, spoke out of line and disgraced my presence, I would bend him over my knee and I would slap him so hard, I can guarantee anybody watching this video instantly, he would never disrespect me again. He would never, in a million years, disrespect and disgrace me again. And even if he chose to, he'd get the same treatment. Not once would I pat my son on the back and turn him into this soft little boy, which is essentially what today's society is trying to do with the male species. I would be strict. I would be this tough, loving, fatherly figure that would treat both of his kids the same, giving them both the same treatment. And what this type of parenting also teaches is that it's not okay to reward disrespectful and disgraceful behaviours. It is not okay to soften any sex down, for that matter. as offspring, because what you're doing essentially is creating self-entitled children that are continuously gonna kick and moan, scream and cry, throw their toys out of the pram, spit their dummies out of the pram when they can't get their own way with their parents, and the parents are going to cave, they're going to give in, and they're going to reward their children for bad behaviour. And what is that going to teach the kids later on down the line? It is going to teach them to become more self-entitled. And when they get to a certain age, they're going to have the mentality of, well, it's okay as long as I get, receive, with no care in the world to anybody else that I take advantage of. And that is toxic within today's parenting. We need to put a stop to this type of parenting. And I'm talking from past experiences. I'm not even a biological father of my own, yet I still have this knowledge, wisdom and logic. Talking from past experiences, it's not right. We need to discipline our offspring, especially our sons, into becoming more masculine boys rather than feminine boys that develop feminine traits. Because I can guarantee anybody watching this video that when they grow up, they essentially are going to get thirsted over by the opposite sex. They're going to fall for one of the females that they have their eye on, thinking that, they are God's gift, as you will, and they are so amazing, out of this world, to then be psychologically and spiritually trapped within a domestic abusive relationship, within a sexless relationship / marriage later on down the line. And this is why we see 80 to 90%, or should I say 70 to 80% of marriages fail. And the vast majority of them are initiated by the opposite sex within divorces. Because they believe wholeheartedly that they can find better and do better after treating the male species the way that they did. And I believe that the opposite sex should be held accountable and responsible for their actions when involving domestic abuse, psychological warfare upon us men. All I see at the minute is a system that creates self-entitled women and weakened men, as well as boys for that matter. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Otherwise, we're just going to have a system that doesn't benefit anybody whatsoever. And there's going to be a lot more struggles as well as battles between both sexes. Mostly psychologically, that is. Because as spiritual beings, we are designed and created to connect with other beings. We're not designed and created to be someone that we're not in order to get people's attention. We are designed and created biblically. We are designed and created to be our true, authentic selves when building connections with other people. And that's what we need to enforce right now in today's society. We need to enforce stricter parenting. We need to enforce stricter, tough loving approaches that will plant that seed of fear within your offspring's minds later on down the line. Not the worldly type of fear, but the godly fear. That if they ever step out of line and disrespect their parents, or even disgrace their parents' presence, they will get a chastising. They will be thrown over your knees, and they will have their asses slapped. Point blank period. I don't care what anybody says on this video. I don't even care what hate this video gets, because I'll have no problem counteracting it within debates. I'll have no problem exposing other people's mindsets. I'll have no problem intellectually challenging people, and if I have to, I'll have no problem resulting into using cognitive dissonance. And it's only going to drive those that result in hating, or hate and oppression for that matter, even more crazy. Because they can't get inside my head, but yet I can get inside theirs. Truth be told. Peace be with you all. Stay out of trouble. Be safe. Drink plenty. But most of all, and most importantly, keep yourselves warm. Now that we have a winter on its way, and a snowfall that is due, yet we haven't seen.